Captain Jennifer Hayes stood at the reinforced window of the underground command center, watching the digital displays that showed the world above. The Nevada desert stretched endlessly under the night sky, its surface scarred by recent battles. The year was 2157, and Earth was losing the war. She brushed a strand of graying hair from her face and checked the status reports again. The base, hidden beneath tons of rock and advanced shielding technology, was one of humanity's last functional military installations. The aliens called themselves the Concordat, and in just 6 months, they had destroyed most of Earth's major cities and military bases. Captain Hayes. Lieutenant James Cooper's voice echoed through the command center. He rushed in, his uniform dusty from his patrol rotation. The sensors picked up another Concordat scout ship. They're getting closer to finding us. Jennifer nodded, her face remaining calm despite the news. Tell Dr. Mitchell to speed up his final checks. We're running out of time. The command center hummed with activity as technicians monitored Earth's remaining defense systems. Massive screens showed the movements of Concordat ships in orbit. Their sleek, purple-black vessels looked like giant arrowheads against the stars. Deep below the command center, in a chamber larger than 3 football fields, sat humanity's last hope. Project Phoenix had taken 15 years to build, consuming resources that could have built 20 regular battleships. But this was no regular battleship. Dr. Mitchell reports he's ready for your inspection, Captain. Amanda Foster, the chief engineer, announced as she entered the room. Her hands were stained with engine grease, and her red hair was tied back in a messy ponytail. The core systems are all green. Jennifer followed Amanda through long corridors, passing hundreds of personnel hurrying about their duties. The base felt like a beehive, buzzing with nervous energy. Everyone knew they were living on borrowed time. The massive blast doors to the Phoenix chamber slid open with a hiss. Jennifer's breath caught in her throat, as it did every time she saw the ship. The Phoenix hung in its cradle, its dark hull gleaming under the harsh lights. Unlike the smooth designs of the Concordat ships, the Phoenix was all angles and sharp edges, like a sword waiting to be drawn. Dr. Thomas Mitchell waited for them at the ship's main entrance. His usual lab coat was wrinkled, and dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept in days. "Captain, you need to see this," he said, leading them inside. The interior corridors of the Phoenix were a maze of advanced technology. Some of it was human-made, but the most important parts came from somewhere else. They had found the first artifacts 10 years ago, buried deep in ancient ruins. Not alien technology, as they first thought, but something else, something human, but from so long ago that history had forgotten it. They reached the bridge, a circular room dominated by a central command chair. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing ship systems that even most of the engineers didn't fully understand. "We've decoded more of the artifact data," Dr. Mitchell explained, pulling up complex diagrams. "The ship's main weapon isn't just a gravity beam. It's a way to control the fabric of space itself." He paused, looking at Jennifer with tired but excited eyes. "Captain, this ship isn't just a match for Concordat technology. It's beyond anything they have." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the base. Lieutenant Cooper's voice came over the speakers. "Multiple Concordat ships detected. They found us. 7 capital ships dropping out of orbit." Jennifer straightened her uniform and looked at her team. "How long until the Phoenix is ready to launch?" "The startup sequence takes 30 minutes, Amanda said, already moving to the engineering station. "We've never tried to rush it. We have 15 minutes at most before they breach our defenses," Jennifer replied. "Make it work." The ship's systems began to power up, ancient technology awakening after thousands of years. Through the base's cameras, they watched as massive Concordat ships descended from the clouds, their weapons already firing at the desert surface. "This is Captain Hayes to all personnel," Jennifer announced over the base channel. "Initiate Emergency Protocol Delta. All non-essential personnel to evacuation stations. Project Phoenix crew, battle stations." As klaxons wailed and people rushed to their positions. Jennifer took her place in the command chair. Screens lit up around her, and she felt the ship's systems connecting to her neural implants. Outside, the first Concordat weapons were starting to crack the base's outer defenses. The Phoenix hummed with power, its ancient hearts beating faster as the startup sequence continued. Humanity's last battle for survival was about to begin, and hidden beneath the Nevada desert, an ancient power was about to wake up. The ground shook as another Concordat blast hit the base's shields. Dr. Thomas Mitchell's hands moved quickly across the control panels as the Phoenix's systems came online one by one. The massive ship's hull began to glow with a faint blue light. Power at 60%. Amanda Foster called out from her engineering station. Sweat ran down her face as she pushed the ancient systems to their limits. The gravity drives are starting to respond. Captain Hayes gripped her command chair as another explosion rocked the base. Talk to me, Dr. Mitchell. What are we really dealing with here? Mitchell pulled up a holographic display in the center of the bridge. The truth is, Captain, we've been wrong about these systems all along. They're not just weapons. They're part of humanity's forgotten history. He pointed to strange symbols scrolling across the screen. These aren't alien writings. They're human language, just older than any civilization we know about. Lieutenant Cooper rushed onto the bridge, his uniform covered in dust from the continuing attacks. Main shields are at 15%. We've got 10 minutes at most. Show them, Hayes ordered Mitchell. Show them what we really built here. Mitchell nodded and pressed his hand against a scanner. A hidden panel in the bridge wall slid open, revealing a small crystal that glowed with an inner light. This is what we found in the ruins beneath the Atlantic Ocean. It's a key, but not to alien technology. It's the key to our own past. The crystal projected images into the air, ancient cities that put modern ones to shame, ships that sailed between stars, and technology that seemed like magic. Humanity wasn't always limited to Earth, Mitchell explained. We had an empire among the stars, but something made us fall. The Concordat didn't come here to conquer us. They came to make sure we never remembered who we were. A massive explosion shook the entire chamber, base shields failing. A voice shouted over the intercom. They're breaking through. Amanda's fingers flew across her controls. 80% power. We can do an emergency launch. Hayes looked at the images of humanity's forgotten glory, then at her crew. Power up all systems. Dr. Mitchell, install that crystal. It's time to remind the Concordat why they feared us in the first place. Mitchell placed the crystal into a slot on the main console. The Phoenix's systems suddenly surged with power. Displays that had been dark for years lit up with ancient knowledge. The ship's AI came online, speaking in a language that somehow everyone could understand. Neural interface active, the AI announced. Accessing ancestral combat protocols. Hayes gasped as information flooded her mind through her neural implants. She saw how the ship's gravity weapons worked, how they could tear apart enemy vessels by manipulating space itself. She understood why the Phoenix was built the way it was, not copying alien designs, but recreating humanity's own lost technology. Concordat forces have breached Level 5. Cooper reported. They're inside the base. Everyone hold on, Hayes ordered. She could feel the ship responding to her thoughts now. Amanda, give us everything you've got. Mitchell, activate the main drive. Cooper, charge all weapons. We're not hiding anymore. The Phoenix's engines roared to life. Above them, the massive doors of the underground chamber began to open, revealing the night sky and the Concordat ships hovering above. Enemy weapons fire poured down, but it was too late. With a sound like thunder, the Phoenix rose. Dust and debris scattered as the massive ship lifted from its cradle. The Concordat ships immediately opened fire, but their weapons splashed harmlessly against shields built from humanity's forgotten knowledge. Weapons online, Cooper announced, his voice filled with awe as he saw the ship's true capabilities. These aren't just guns, they can reshape gravity itself. Hayes stood from her chair, watching as the much larger Concordat ships moved to surround them. "Send a message to all Earth forces," she ordered. "Tell them the Phoenix is rising. Tell them humanity remembers." The first Concordat ship fired a full barrage. Hayes smiled as the Phoenix's systems automatically responded, creating a gravity well that swallowed the attack whole. "They wanted to keep us down," Hayes said, watching the enemy ships through the bridge viewport. "They wanted us to forget who we were, but they forgot something important." She activated the Phoenix's main weapons, watching as energy gathered around the ship's hull. Humanity doesn't stay forgotten. The Phoenix's weapons fired, and for the first time since the invasion began, it was the Concordat's turn to feel fear. The night sky above Nevada lit up like daylight as the Phoenix engaged the Concordat fleet. Lieutenant Cooper's hands moved across his weapons console with growing confidence as the ancient combat systems merged with his training. 3 enemy ships coming in from the left. He called out. The massive purple-black ships of the Concordat looked less threatening now that the Phoenix was airborne. They're charging their main guns. Captain Hayes stood calmly at her command station. The neural link with the ship showed her everything. Every threat, every opportunity. "Take us right into the middle of their formation," she ordered. "Are you crazy?" Amanda Foster shouted from engineering. "We'll be surrounded. Trust me," Hayes replied with a small smile. "Dr. Mitchell, activate the gravity wells." The Phoenix shot forward, its dark hull gleaming under the stars. As the Concordat ships fired, Mitchell's fingers danced across his console. Spheres of distorted space appeared around the Phoenix, catching the enemy fire and twisting it into nothingness. "Impossible," one of the Concordat commanders broadcast on all frequencies. "That's First Empire technology. Humans are too primitive to control such power." Hayes opened a channel to respond. "We're not primitive. We're just remembering who we are." She turned to Cooper. "Show them what we remember. Target their lead ship." Cooper grinned and activated the main weapon. A beam of concentrated gravitational force lanced out from the Phoenix. It struck the Concordat vessel dead center, crushing the mighty warship like it was made of paper. The remaining enemy ships scattered in panic. "Engineering report," Hayes called out as they pursued the fleeing aliens. Amanda's voice was filled with excitement. "The engines are performing beyond all expectations, Captain. The more we use them, the more efficiently they run. It's like the ship is waking up, remembering its old strength." Dr. Mitchell monitored the stream of data flowing through the ship's systems. "Each engagement is unlocking more of our ancient knowledge. The neural interface is teaching us things about space travel that we'd never even imagined." 2 more Concordat ships turned to fight, launching waves of smaller fighter craft. The Phoenix's point defense systems activated automatically, creating tiny gravity distortions that plucked the enemy fighters from the sky. "Message from Earth Command," Cooper announced. "Other bases are reporting Concordat forces retreating worldwide. They're running scared." Hayes watched through the view screen as her ship moved with impossible grace between enemy fire. The Phoenix wasn't just a weapon. It was a key to humanity's lost heritage. Every minute they fought unlocked more secrets, more power, more understanding of who they truly were. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, Mitchell called out. "Large Concordat fleet incoming." From the dark space above Earth, 20 more enemy capital ships appeared. They were larger than the first wave, clearly meant for heavy combat. Their weapons charged, filling space with angry red light. "So they're finally taking us seriously," Hayes said. She could feel the Phoenix responding to her thoughts, ready for the bigger challenge. "All hands, battle stations. Amanda, give me everything the engines have. Cooper, prepare all weapons. Mitchell, start recording everything we learned from this fight." The Phoenix rose higher, its hull humming with power. The Concordat fleet spread out in an attack formation, but Hayes could see the fear in their movements. They weren't facing a primitive species anymore. They were facing the reborn power of humanity's golden age. "Listen up, everyone," Hayes addressed her crew. What we do here will be remembered. Every human on Earth is watching. Show them who we really are. The Phoenix's weapons charge, gravity itself bending to its will. The crew felt the weight of history on their shoulders, but they weren't afraid. Through the neural interface, they could feel the strength of their ancestors flowing into them. Concordat fleet is launching all fighters, Cooper reported. They're throwing everything they have at us. Hayes took her command chair, feeling the ship's power flowing through her neural links. Then let's throw everything we have right back at them. For Earth, for humanity, for everything they tried to make us forget. The Phoenix surged forward, its weapons blazing with power that hadn't been seen in Earth's skies for thousands of years. The great battle for humanity's destiny was about to begin, and this time, humanity was ready. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the Phoenix met the Concordat fleet head-on, ready to prove that humanity's chains were finally broken. Dr. Thomas Mitchell's eyes widened as new data flooded the Phoenix's screens. The battle against the Concordat fleet had unlocked even more of the ship's ancient memories, and what he saw changed everything. Captain Hayes, he called out, his voice shaking. You need to see this immediately. The Phoenix had just finished destroying its fifth Concordat capital ship. The rest of the enemy fleet hung back, clearly reassessing their strategy. Captain Hayes left her command chair and moved to Mitchell's station, her boots clicking on the metal deck. What did you find? She asked, watching as symbols and images flashed across his screen. The Concordat didn't just find Earth by accident, Mitchell explained, pulling up ancient star charts. They'd been watching us for thousands of years. Every time humanity got close to rediscovering our true technology, they stepped in to stop us. Lieutenant Cooper looked up from his weapons console. The Dark Ages, the burning of the Library of Alexandria. All of it. Mitchell nodded. They'd been keeping us down, making sure we never remembered our past. The Industrial Revolution almost broke their control. That's why they're here now. We got too close to the truth. A blast rocked the ship as a Concordat cruiser made a daring attack run. Amanda Foster's voice came over the intercom from engineering. Shields holding. The hit actually charged our power cells. We're learning from their weapons. Hayes returned to her chair, processing the new information. Can you access any records of other human bases? There must be more facilities like ours. Mitchell's fingers flew across his console. The neural interface fed him information faster than he could speak it. Yes, there are hidden bases all over Earth. The Concordat didn't find them all because they're protected by the same technology we use. Australia, Brazil, Russia, Egypt, they all have ships like the Phoenix. Send them the activation codes, Hayes ordered. Wake them all up. It's time for humanity to stand together. Cooper's console suddenly lit up with new contacts. Captain, more Concordat ships dropping out of hyperspace. But something's wrong with them. They're firing on their own fleet. Through the bridge viewport, they watched as new ships appeared. These vessels were different, sleek and deadly, but clearly not human or Concordat. Their weapons tore through the surprised Concordat fleet with savage efficiency. A transmission came through on all frequencies. The voice spoke perfect English. Phoenix Actual, this is Captain Robert Anderson of the Free Worlds Alliance. Sorry we're late to the party. Hayes opened a channel. Captain Anderson, this is Hayes. Want to explain why you're flying alien ships? Not alien, Captain, Anderson replied with a laugh. Human design, just like your Phoenix. We're the descendants of those who escaped when the Concordat first came to suppress Earth. We've been waiting centuries for you to wake up. The crew watched in amazement as more Alliance ships appeared, their advanced technology making short work of the Concordat forces. On Mitchell's screens, signals showed hidden bases across Earth powering up, awakening more vessels like the Phoenix. They're running, Cooper shouted as the remaining Concordat ships turned to flee. The whole fleet is retreating. Amanda's voice came through again. Captain, the ship's database is fully unlocked now. "You're not going to believe what we can do." Hayes stood at her command station, watching as humanity's lost children returned home. On the screens around her, she could see other ships like the Phoenix rising from hidden bases around the world. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were reuniting. "Dr. Mitchell," she said, "send all our technical data to the other bases. Lieutenant Cooper, keep our weapons ready but don't pursue the retreating ships. Amanda, start analyzing everything we can learn from the Alliance vessels." "Captain," Mitchell called out, "I'm receiving transmissions from all over Earth. Every major government is reporting the same thing. Hidden facilities activating, ancient technology coming online. It's like the whole planet is waking up." The bridge crew watched as Alliance ships took up defensive positions around Earth. Captain Anderson's voice came through again. "Captain Hayes, we have a lot to tell you about your true heritage. The Concordat has suppressed hundreds of worlds like Earth. Want to help us free them?" Hayes looked at her crew, seeing the same excitement in their eyes that she felt. Humanity wasn't just defending Earth anymore. They were about to take their place among the stars again. "Send us everything you know," she replied to Anderson. "It's time for humanity to take back what's ours." The Phoenix hovered in Earth's orbit, its ancient systems humming with power, ready to help humanity reclaim its destiny. The Phoenix glided through space alongside the Alliance fleet. 3 days had passed since their first battle, and Earth had changed more than anyone could have imagined. Captain Hayes watched from her command chair as another hidden base activated in the Sahara Desert, a massive ship rising from the sands. "That makes 23 active vessels now," Lieutenant Cooper reported, marking the new ship on his tactical display. "The Concordat never knew how many bases we had." Amanda Foster's voice came through the ship's comm system. "Captain, you need to see this. The engine room is changing." Hayes made her way down to engineering, where she found Amanda staring at walls that seemed to be rebuilding themselves. The metal was flowing like water, forming new patterns and systems they had never seen before. "It's like the ship is evolving," Amanda explained, her hand hovering over a newly formed control panel. "Every hour we learn more, and the Phoenix adapts to match our growing knowledge." Dr. Mitchell rushed into engineering, holding a data tablet. "We've decoded more of the ancient files," he said, excitement clear in his voice. "The First Empire didn't just have ships. They had whole networks of defense platforms, shipyards, and supply bases. Some of them might still be out there, sleeping like we were." A alert sounded through the ship. Hayes rushed back to the bridge, where Cooper was already at his station. "Multiple Concordat fleets detected," he announced. "They're attacking human colonies on other worlds." Captain Anderson's face appeared on the main screen. "The Concordat is desperate," he said. "They're trying to crush all human resistance before we get any stronger. We need to strike back now." Hayes nodded, feeling the Phoenix's systems respond to her thoughts through the neural link. "Show me these colonies," she ordered. The view screen filled with images of distant human worlds. Some looked like Earth. Others were strange and beautiful, but all were under attack. The Concordat was throwing everything they had at humanity's scattered children. "We have the coordinates of a major Concordat supply base," Anderson said. "If we can destroy it, their fleets will be stranded without fuel and ammunition. But it's heavily defended. It might be a suicide mission." Hayes looked at her crew. They had come so far from that underground base in Nevada. The Phoenix was stronger now, its ancient systems fully awake. But were they ready for this? The Phoenix was built for exactly this kind of mission, Amanda called from engineering. "These new systems, they're incredible. We can do things the Concordat can't even imagine." Dr. Mitchell pulled up scans of the target. "The base's defenses are strong, but they're using copy technology. They never fully understood how our ancestors' weapons worked. We do." "Plot a course," Hayes ordered. "Contact all Earth ships. Anyone who's ready for a fight, form up with us." Space seemed to bend as ships from around Earth jumped to their position. The Phoenix led a fleet of 15 vessels, each one a masterpiece of restored human technology. Captain Anderson's Alliance ships joined them, their crews ready to fight alongside their long-lost cousins. The Concordat thinks they kept us down, Hayes addressed the fleet. They think they stopped human progress, but they only forced us to grow stronger. Today we show them exactly what humanity can do. The fleet jumped into hyperspace, the Phoenix leading the way. They emerged near the Concordat base, a massive structure built into an asteroid. Enemy ships scrambled to defend it, but they were too slow. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Hayes commanded. Show them what Earth remembers. The Phoenix's weapons came alive, gravity itself bending to their will. Other Earth ships joined in, each one using technologies that had been sleeping for thousands of years. The Concordat fleet fell into chaos as weapons they thought were lost forever tore through their defenses. Supply base shields failing, Cooper reported with a grin. They never saw this coming. Hayes stood at her command station, watching as humanity's combined fleet brought down an enemy that had suppressed them for so long. This wasn't just a victory, it was a revolution. Send word to Earth, she ordered. Tell them the Phoenix remembers, humanity rises, and the Concordat's time is over. The supply base exploded in a brilliant flash, marking the beginning of humanity's return to power. Above the ruins, Earth's fleet prepared for their next target. The time for hiding was over. The time for reclaiming their destiny had begun. 1 month after the destruction of the Concordat supply base, the Phoenix led a growing fleet of human ships through the stars. Captain Hayes stood on her bridge, watching as reports came in from across the galaxy. The news was all the same. Human colonies rising up, hidden bases activating, and Concordat forces falling back. Message from Earth Command, Lieutenant Cooper announced. The Brazilian base just launched their last ship. Earth now has 47 vessels in space. Dr. Mitchell worked at his station, analyzing data from their latest battles. The Concordat is losing control of their subject worlds. 3 more alien species have joined our rebellion in the past week. They're running scared. Amanda's voice came through from engineering. She had barely left the engine room in days, working to upgrade their growing fleet with recovered technology. Every ship we free teaches us more about our past. The Phoenix alone is 10 times stronger than when we started. A flash of light caught Hayes' attention. Through the bridge viewport, she watched as a massive structure appeared in space. It looked like a giant ring, big enough for several ships to pass through at once. It's a jump gate, Captain Anderson explained as his ship pulled alongside the Phoenix. Your ancestors built thousands of them. The Concordat shut them down, but now they're waking up. The whole galaxy is remembering what humanity built. Captain, Cooper called out suddenly. Multiple signals coming through the gate. Biggest fleet we've ever seen. Hundreds of Concordat warships poured through the jump gate. At their center was a vessel twice the size of any they'd faced before. Its dark purple hull seemed to absorb light, and weapons bristled from every surface. This is High Commander Roland of the Concordat. A voice boomed across all channels. Your rebellion ends here. Surrender now, or we will be forced to destroy your species entirely. Hayes opened a channel to respond. This is Captain Hayes of the Phoenix. We've heard your threats before. We're not hiding anymore. She turned to her crew. Signal all ships. This is what we've been preparing for. Today we show the galaxy that humanity is back. The Phoenix moved forward, its hull glowing with power. Behind it, Earth's fleet formed up in attack position. Alliance ships joined them, along with vessels from the freed alien worlds. What had started as one ship's rebellion had become a galactic uprising. They're targeting the Phoenix specifically, Cooper reported as enemy ships moved to surround them. They know we started this. Good, Hayes smiled. Amanda, give us everything the engines have. Dr. Mitchell, activate all the new systems. Lieutenant Cooper, show them what humanity remembers about warfare. The Phoenix charged straight at the enemy fleet. Its weapons had evolved far beyond simple gravity manipulation now. Space itself seemed to bend around the ship as it fought. Where once they had struggled against a single Concordat vessel, now they danced between enemy fire, striking back with devastating effect. Earth fleet is engaging, Cooper called out. Alliance ships providing support. The freed worlds are attacking from the rear. Through her neural link, Hayes could feel the Phoenix's joy in battle. The ship wasn't just a weapon. It was a piece of humanity's soul, awakened after thousands of years of sleep. With each passing moment, it remembered more of its true power. The High Commander's massive ship pressed forward, trying to reach the Phoenix. Its weapons were stronger than anything they'd faced before, but Hayes wasn't afraid. She could see the fear in how the enemy moved, how they fought. The Concordat wasn't facing primitives anymore. They were facing the return of their greatest nightmare. Amanda, Hayes called to engineering. Remember that modification you were working on? The one that seemed impossible. Ready when you are, Captain, Amanda replied with excitement in her voice. The whole ship has been waiting for this moment. All hands, Hayes addressed her crew. Brace for something new. Dr. Mitchell, start recording. The history books will want to know what happens next. The Phoenix's hull began to shift, panels moving like liquid metal. Ancient systems, dormant for millennia, came fully awake. The ship was about to show why the Concordat had feared humanity enough to try to keep them down for so long. High Commander Rowland's voice came through again, but this time there was a tremor in it. What are you doing? Something we've always been able to do, Hayes replied calmly. We're changing the rules of your game. Amanda, now. The Phoenix transformed, and the final battle for humanity's future began in earnest. The Phoenix's transformation left everyone speechless. Its hull had become pure energy, glowing like a newborn star. Ancient symbols covered its surface, each one burning with power that even the Concordat's greatest weapons couldn't match. What are we seeing? Lieutenant Cooper whispered, staring at his readings. The power levels are off the charts. Amanda's laugh echoed through the ship's comm system. We didn't just build warships, she said from engineering. We built ships that could evolve, that could change to meet any challenge. The Phoenix isn't just remembering. It's becoming something new. High Commander Rowland's massive vessel opened fire with everything it had. Energy beams that could crack planets struck the Phoenix's transformed hull. But instead of causing damage, the attack simply made the ship glow brighter. Now, Captain Hayes commanded, her voice calm and steady, show them why they feared us. The Phoenix released a wave of pure gravitational force. Space itself rippled as the wave passed through the Concordat fleet. Ships that had seemed unstoppable moments before crumpled like paper toys. Rowland's flagship tried to turn away, but it was too late. All Earth vessels, Hayes broadcast to the fleet. The Phoenix will open a path. Follow us in. Show them what humanity has become. Dr. Mitchell's console lit up with new data. Captain, the other human ships. They're changing too. The Phoenix is sharing its evolution with the fleet. One by one, Earth's ships transformed, their hulls shifting into forms of light and power. The Alliance vessels and their alien allies watched in awe as humanity's true strength was finally unveiled. High Commander Rowland's voice shook as he spoke. Stop, please. We never knew. We never understood what we were trying to suppress. But we remember now, Hayes replied. She could feel the Phoenix's power flowing through her neural link, showing her visions of humanity's true history. We remember everything you tried to make us forget. The Phoenix led the charge through the heart of the Concordat fleet. Ships that didn't surrender were disabled with surgical precision. This wasn't just a battle anymore. It was a demonstration of power that would change the galaxy forever. Commander Rowland, Hayes called out, power down your weapons. Order your fleet to stand down. The age of the Concordat is over. For a long moment, silence filled the comm channels. Then, slowly, the massive Concordat flagship's weapons went dark. Across the battlefield, enemy vessels began to power down. We surrender. Rowland's voice was barely a whisper. We surrender to the first empire reborn. Amanda rushed onto the bridge, her face glowing with excitement. Captain, you need to see this. The jump gate, it's responding to our new form. It's showing us coordinates, hundreds of them. Places where more of our people might be sleeping. Dr. Mitchell checked the data on his console. Not just military bases, he said in awe. Research centers, civilian colonies, whole cities hidden among the stars. Everything the Concordat tried to make us forget. Captain Anderson's voice came through. Captain Hayes, ships from 50 different worlds are asking to join our fleet. They want to help wake up the rest of humanity. Hayes stood from her command chair, looking out at the stars through the Phoenix's transformed hull. They could see space in new ways now, could understand things their ancestors had known but had been forced to forget. Send word to Earth, she ordered Cooper. Tell them the war is over. Tell them humanity remembers, and we're going to help everyone else remember too. The Phoenix hung in space, its energy form pulsing like a beacon of hope. Around it, ships from 100 worlds gathered, ready to help rebuild what was lost. The Concordat's fleet, now under Earth's control, would be used to protect the worlds they had once oppressed. What now, Captain? Cooper asked, looking at the endless stars ahead of them. Hayes smiled. Now we go wake up the rest of our family. There are humans out there still sleeping, still waiting to remember who they are. The Phoenix led us back to the stars. Now we'll use it to light the way for everyone else. As the combined fleet prepared to jump to the first set of coordinates, Hayes felt the Phoenix's joy through their neural link. Humanity had not just survived. They had evolved into something greater than even their ancestors had been. The age of hiding was over. The time of remembering had begun. And among the stars, a new dawn was rising for all species who wanted to be free.